Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I would like to share my pleasant experiences here in the Philippines. When I came back, the last time I flew over here was back in 2022, and I landed in Cebu. And just want to say that anybody I communicated with, they were extremely nice, very friendly. What really caught my attention is what I didn't notice, to be very honest with you, in any other countries, and I lived in a few countries already, that the Philippines people smile more than any other nations. Even though life is very hard here for most of the people, they still find time to be happy and also smiling. Smiling is very infectious. It gives off a very positive vibe right away towards the other person, and just was very impressed with it. It almost felt unusual for me because I never get so many smiles from anywhere I went so far. First, when I flew also from Cebu to Butuan, I didn't get lost on the airport, but for some reason I had to move my luggages pretty far distance. And this Philippine guy who worked in the airport actually approached me. He spoke broken English, but he spoke English, and asked me where I'm planning to go and offered me his assistance. And I said, okay. I said, but my luggages are pretty heavy. And he said, no matter. And so he carried them. I mean, I had wheels on them, but some places I had to lift it up. And he spent a good hour with me. Wanted to make sure that I don't get lost, everything goes smooth. And I wanted to show my appreciation to him, but I didn't have any pesos on me. I mean, I had a very small amount. I didn't want to insult him with a small amount of money. And I asked him, I said, for your help, you're so generous to me and kind, how much would you like? I wanted to ask him, maybe he's going to say something else I had in mind. And he said, whatever I think. So I only had a $20 bill cash on me and a $100 bill. I couldn't give up the $100 because I still need to travel to Butuan and exchange it. And the rest of my money was on a card, but I gave him a $20 bill. And when he looked at it, he stepped back a few steps, and I said, I'm sorry. I said, if you don't think it's not enough, then I go to the ATM machine and get you some more money. He said, no, sir, no. The other thing, you've been called sir. Very seldom you hear that in other countries that they approach you as sir. So it's very polite, very respectful. And so I gave him the $20, and he was extremely happy. I talked a little bit with him. I said, you have family? He said, yeah, he has 2 kids at home. He's the only one who earns money. And I don't think he's really getting too much money working at the airport. But anyway, I hope that for his good deed, I also was able to do a good deed for him. I wish I could have given him a little bit more if I would have more loose money on me, but that's all I had. But it seemed like he was very happy, and I was very happy too, of course. And another great experience was also going to a hotel. I went to, I think it's called the Yellow Hotel in Cebu. Very welcoming staff worked there. Breakfast was complimentary. On the roof was a beautiful view of the city, and very nice atmosphere, very relaxed. Nobody was rushing, nobody was stressed out. And even when I went upstairs, they went out of their way, and the workers there. And I didn't have to pay for the breakfast, but I still offered a little tip money for them, just for the kindness. Another great experience I had, and it was very pleasantly surprised when we went to Davao, to the embassy, to get my paperwork done so I can stay here. And the staff on the second floor, the guy and some of the ladies who worked there, after a few minutes of knowing each other and getting to talk, we had conversations like we know each other for like 10 years, 15 years. Smiling, even shooting jokes. So what a pleasant atmosphere. It's just amazing when a high-paced environment like that, they actually still took the time and be kind, not be stressed out. And you know, a lot of times people, when they work for government agencies and they overloaded with work, they just forget that a little smile and kindness can go a long way. Now also the immigration officer was a female. I mean, me and my wife just had such a good experience there. First, we didn't even talk about the business, why we're there. I mean, she knows why we're there. But we started to talk about life. She asked me, why did I choose a Philippine woman? and what brings me to, other than my wife, to the country, why I want to stay here. So we were talking and even saying jokes that the staff from other offices, they were coming and looking and they were smiling. So Darren, I feel like really staying here longer and an office opening up maybe a bottle of wine and just drink and talk. So a very pleasant experience. Then other one was, I have a lot of experiences. I'm not going to go into all those details and bore you guys, but I want to show you some many good sides of the Philippines. And first time when I came to the Philippines was in 2017, and that's the first time in person I met my wife, and she introduced me to the family. It turned out awesome. It wasn't just a family introduction, but the whole neighborhood, about 150, 200 people surrounded me, and all looking. Good thing we went pretty well packed with drinks, soft drinks, and also some alcoholic beverages for the grown-ups, and a few buckets. In the Philippines they sell these buckets of cookies, biscuits. So I'm glad we bought a whole bunch of them, and we almost ran out of them. It was almost like Halloween in the United States, just a whole bunch of kids coming up in a row, and they were smiling. And I didn't know the customary things here at the beginning, that they grab your hand and they put it on your forehead, so they ask for your blessing. And it's a wonderful thing. It's very respect the way the kids been growing up this way, and it just touched my heart. And the next day, I invited my wife's whole family out to a restaurant my wife picked out in the city of Butuan. And unfortunately, that restaurant doesn't exist anymore. I think after the pandemic, they went out of business. But they had outdoor sitting areas and indoor, and the furniture were made out of native lumber, huge log made into a bench. Even a table was made out of a huge log, very wide. Excuse me. Something like dry air in the house. So I couldn't believe all the food we were getting. The service was just amazing. It wasn't a pretended friendliness. You can tell it came from the heart of the workers there. And so much food, so much drink. And after eating all that food, several different kind of dishes, 4 kind of soups, including fish soup, beef soup, chicken soup, then fried fish, fried chickens, grilled chickens, unlimited rice, 2 rounds of beer for the grown-ups. I wanted to buy more, but they said that's enough because they still need to travel. And then for the kids, refreshments, they brought out these big pictures of real fresh fruits cut in it and ice cubes in it. And it looked very delicious. I'm sure it tasted good. Then the famous ice cream here called Halo Halo. Everybody had a round of Halo Halo too. And the whole thing only cost, I know it's difficult for the Philippines, many of the Philippines who work average jobs to come up with that money. But I came that time as a tourist and to meet my wife, future wife that time. And so I came with a little over $1,000. Not a lot of money, but here it's quite an amount of money. And the whole thing only cost me, I think it was like between $120 and $130. And in the United States, I truly believe all that food, including the drinks, I'm not exaggerating, $350, $400 at least. And we were in the air-conditioned area. We could have sit outside, but I give the family the choice where they want to sit, so we all sitting inside, air-conditioned. We had a good bonding. Everybody spoke English, including the elderly down to the youngest kids. Even 4-year-old kids know basic English. That was very helpful to me because I couldn't speak one word in Bisaya. And also, we didn't forget about the waiters. I said I want to be very generous with them because this is an event I'm never going to forget as long as I live. And also, I didn't want them to forget us as long as they live, that there was this nice family and an American guy wasn't stingy. Because I don't like stinginess at all. I don't like stingy people. And these people work so hard. That was a lot of food to prepare, and they had other guests other than us, but they were always promptly right there. So I salute them. And as I said, I wish that restaurant would be still in business. I would go back at least once in 2 weeks, definitely, to eat there. Food was delicious. Everything was delicious. So, another good, pleasant experience here with the Philippine people. And it was so interesting. Right before we moved to this house in the same subdivision, we just about to leave, me and my wife, to go to the city. Step out the door and we see our next door neighbor. The first time my father and son was out there, and they don't occupy the house, but they own it. One day they're thinking to come out and do tile work and whatever necessary to maybe rent it out. So I greeted him in a friendly gesture, and the son, and the man was very friendly. He greeted me back, and the son too. And I walked up to him and I said, by the way, I said, I live here, and my name is Peter. I introduced myself, and my wife introduced him, and we got into a conversation for, I tell you, about 15 minutes. Where does he live, and the life in the Philippines, and he said he's very happy to see us here. And he said before we leave, he wants to give me a gift as a token of a friendship. I was very touched by it. I said, wow, the man never even seen me before, and he's so kind. So this is what he gave me. This knife. It's in the housing. I don't want to take out the knife. My wife advised me not to do it because it's online, on YouTube. So I just want to show you. This is how long the blade is, but he gave me this as a gift. And we were on our way out, as I said, and they were actually wrapping up, and just when I started up the truck, they started up the car, and I went up one more time to him, and I shook his hand and his son's hand. I told him, I said, I really appreciate your kindness. I said, you know, it was really touching. And I said, ask him when you're coming back again. He said, maybe in 2 or 3 months. And I said, okay, because I don't want to be empty-handed. I want to give you something too, but this was such a surprise to me. I wasn't even prepared. So I said, if I run back to the house, I said, I don't even know what to give him. But I figured next time he's going to be here, by that time I'm going to be prepared. But unfortunately, I've never seen him ever since. I'm still hoping one day I'm going to run into him. Such a nice fellow. So, you know, really pleasant experience. Also, when I go out to the in-laws to visit them, my wife, mother, and brothers and sister, and the surrounding people live there. Many times there's karaoke going on. It's a big thing in the Philippines. They asked me to sing, but I think my voice is like a horse. Only time I would sing, I would have to be very, very tipsy. But my wife, she's an excellent singer. Actually, to be honest, most of the Philippine people are really good singers. You see them on going on competition, contesting, you know, they're always on the top of singing. What's more, there's this famous guy who was on, I think, Britain Got Talent or America Got Talent. He could sing 2 voices, opera voice, very deep and very high, like a female. I never seen anybody in my life who can do that. He's extremely talented. And so just amazing, you know, with a little bit of things, how much you can accomplish, go out of your way and make other people happy. But back to the karaoke. Usually when there's karaoke going on, many times it happens on birthdays and family get-togethers, fiestas. Fiestas last a pretty long time here. So when you go over there, be prepared to eat a lot of food before you go, because you're going to be drinking a lot of beer. So you don't want to drink beer on an empty stomach and get wasted after half a bottle of beer. So, babe, would you please stop it for a second? Other thing, as I mentioned in my previous vlogs, I grew up in Europe, and I lived in Hungary for 20 years, I lived in Germany for near 2 years, and then America for a few decades, but I never experienced this much depth of warmth from people in other countries than. I'm not saying this to glorify the Philippine people, but this is the truth. When you marry in a family or date, and they see that you're a decent man, people are going to go out of your way. And don't be cocky. Don't think you're better than them. Just because you might have more money than them, and money doesn't make you better. It's coming from a heart and your soul. How you feel, how you relate to people. That's what makes a person. And so when I was over there visiting my in-laws, even some neighbors asked us to stop by, come in, and they offered food, drinks. They just wanted to get to know me, and all of them were so friendly. I never had a bad experience out there, and I'm honestly telling this. And then when you walk on the streets, even if you read to your wife, could be a group of women walking by and they stop and they smiling, they almost make your wife jealous, but they just very curious. You know, you stand out because my skin is different too, different tan, different complex to say, and many of them just want to get in a friendly conversation, wants to know where you're from, what you do here, and another thing, being married to a Filipino. So far to me, it's an amazing feeling. I know my wife for 9 years now. Right, babe? 9 years? 9 years. Been married for 3 years. Little bitty bumps happen here and there, but it's normal. It happens everywhere. I always believe that if there's not a little disagreement, then there's no love, because you just don't care. You just let it go. Yeah, just say whatever you want. It doesn't bother you. The pleasure you got from being married to a Filipino is whole different ballgames. Now, I'm not saying this to make any woman feel grudges towards me for saying this. I've been married before to a European woman. The truth is, I've been married 2 times. I was married 8 years. I got married very young in Hungary. Then I got married again. My second marriage lasted for 20 years, so that should tell you something. So I'm not like a gigolo just to go fly one woman to the other one and pollinate them, to say. So I mean business. But sometimes when a marriage doesn't work, then it doesn't work. You gotta move on, or you stay stuck in something. So I almost gave up on getting married, but I decided to do research in the past and see some Filipinos in America, how they were behaving, how they relate, and my sisters told me too that they work with Filipinos in the health field, and my sisters prefer to work with them more than any other people because they're honest workers, very hospitable, and also they're not sneaky. When they came back to the Philippines to visit their family and went back to America again to work after the vacation, they actually took the time to buy little gifts for my sisters. Now that's very thoughtful. So that means they really feel good to be with them, right? To work around them as co-workers and as friends. So very nice of them. Now back to my wife. I experienced things with my wife what I never experienced in the past. She's so, how can I say this? You have to be married to a good Filipino to understand what I'm talking about. Because if not, you're just gonna think, oh, he's full of shit, just saying things. But this is the truth. For example, I never had to clip my fingernails or my toenails, and I feel embarrassed when she did it the first time, because I did it all the time in my life for myself. None of my ex-wife did it ever, even if I wasn't feeling well. She does it like clockwork. And also, the scent, the Filipinos are very particular about how you smell. they pick up scent much faster than any other woman I know in the world. And so they take very good care of you. If you say, oh, my back hurts a little bit, I didn't say it to get a massage. I just mentioned that my back hurts a little bit. Right away, what she does, she grabs the lotion, herbal product, and lay down on your tummy, and she goes, and not just for 30 seconds, like, okay, I just did it just to show him I care. No, it goes on for like 10, 15 minutes. I even say, okay, really, my back is gonna get on fire, you're rubbing it so much. Cooking too. I hear many times that in other cultures, when a man goes to work and the wife is home, some of them have no kids, some of them have kids, but the wife doesn't get up. They sleep till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the bed, and don't prepare breakfast for the husband, or at least put up a cup of coffee. I experienced that too in my life. My wife here, my Filipino wife, she makes so much breakfast that she always trying to be in my favor. Ask me, what would you like to eat? I said, just surprise me. I said, I eat everything you cook because I do. Just about everything. Certain things I don't eat. But I say certain things like I got sick, really bad food poisoning in America from shrimp. And ever since then, I just can't get myself to taste the shrimp. And it's very big over here. You can get so much fresh shrimp. Other one is the mussels. I just can't eat the mussel, you know, from a shell, the clam. But most of other stuff I eat, most of it. House cleaning. It's always clean. She cleans several times a day. They get that little broom and the mop up, and so I never have to worry about it. The CR, we call it CR over here, the toilet is always clean. No stain on it, no bad smells. Laundry gets done regularly. When I moved over here, right away we didn't have a washing machine. We were thinking what kind of buying. She was just hand scrubbing. I said, darn. I didn't, you didn't know that kind of life still exists when people still scrub the clothing. And many families here in the Philippines, I've seen it out in the province, they have 4 or 5 kids, some of them more, and the woman is squatting down. The Philippine people can squat the longest time compared to anybody in the world. The muscles in the thighs some are different than regular humans being anywhere. So they're very, very, very tough people. And the woman is there for a half a day, sometimes a whole day, just hand scrubbing everybody's clothes. And when you look at that clothes hanging on the line, everything is sun-dried. And actually that's the best. It's clean. It's not stained. Because sometimes you can throw it in a washing machine, you still have stain in it. But they just find a way to scrub it out. And extremely hard work. Extremely hard work. But you know what? I haven't seen one complaining. You cannot get a Westerner woman, again, I'm not trying to bash them, but you cannot get a Western woman to do that. Maybe they do their socks or their panty, and that's it. But to do it for the whole family, they would divorce the guy. Seriously. And I didn't want to see my wife doing that way either, because I know how hard work is that. When I grew up in Hungary, that's how it was many times, that hand washing. Even back then, we didn't have the luxury to have like disposable diapers like these days. So everything was a cloth diaper. And you had to go through so many processes to disinfect that thing and have the stains out of it. Otherwise the kid's butt's going to get a rash and be on fire practically. So soon we bought a washing machine, and I didn't want to see my wife going through that suffer. But again, she not once complained. I asked to help, and she said, no, absolutely not. You don't need to help me. And dishes always gets done. There's no time that you go to sleep and a pile of dishes there for 2 or 3 days. You know, she does it always, always. I help out too many times. Let's say she's better than me at doing editing. So I said, why don't you do some editing on some of the postings we do, and I take care of the dishes, so I do something. I'm not just going to sit there and feel like I'm some kind of lord, you know. I never want her to feel that way. So there's a list going on and on and on. So much kindness you get out of your wife, and a compassion and love. You can tell if a woman loves you or not by her touch, by her looks, her kisses. Everything has a vibration coming out of it, right? She's smiling, but that's the truth. You can tell, especially the more females you were in your life. I think by experience, if you really paid attention, you know what I'm talking about. But also, this is not as a payment, but as a token of your love, you gotta show love back any way you can. Don't be an asshole and be demanding in anything in life over here. Anything you're getting, take it as a gift. I take it as a gift. One thing, my age difference compared to my wife, I feel like a king. She makes me feel like a king. And she is my queen. My queen bee. And so many, many good things about a Filipino wife. So I encourage you guys who come from other countries, if you have at least 5 bad experiences, then I encourage you to stop the fishing over there. When I say fishing, you know, try to find the right one. Go on a good reputable date site or travel over here. It's not going to be that easy once you just travel here and try to look for one, because there's going to be a lot of women there, but you're not going to be able to get to know a person too well right away. The way I met my wife was on a site called Christian Filipina. They screen the people there too, and for $100 back then, they do a background check on the ones you thinking to settle down with. And of course it takes two sides. She has to like you, not just love. At first it starts with like, not with love, right? You have to like each other. But they do a background check on her just to make sure that she's not into a marriage, or maybe a dating with somebody and she maybe be using you. That can happen too. So you got to find the right one. And Christian Filipinos, I think, is one of the best sites for that. And once you feel like after at least a year of conversation, I encourage you to do video chatting. Texting is not enough. Anybody can text anything, but when you video chat, you see the body language. You see if the smile is genuine and the look in the eye. You know, you gotta really, really pay attention. And if you feel like, okay, she's the one, then you gotta sacrifice that time of your life that you're gonna come over here and stay as long as you can. At the beginning, you can stay 2 months. You think 2 months is enough time, you got to be really serious bonding. And remember, you're coming to a different culture. They raise different ways. And that's the other thing I love about the Filipinos, that because they raise different than a culture, especially in America, they're much more respectful. They understand life way more, way more. I haven't seen one woman over here who walks around with the G-string showing, or the panty showing, and the belly showing, and tattoos all over on the body. At least I haven't seen. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I haven't seen. When you go down to the beach, to the ocean, you don't even know the people, but they're gonna smile. A whole bunch of them waves to you. Many of them gonna approach you. I've been called, "Hey dude," "Hey Joe," "How are you? Where are you coming from?" And they were giggling and everything. They don't mean disrespect. If you take it as a disrespect, then you're in the wrong place. You can tell by the person's body language they're disrespecting you. They were just trying to be friendly. And so back to the beach, you don't see maybe 1% of the women out of 100 who's wearing a bikini. Most of them are very shy. They cover the whole body. They have a long shirt on them and short. They don't want nobody to see the butt cheeks or the front or the breast, what they look like, what's the size of them or the outline of the body. They preserving that part for the husband at home. It's very, very private, and that's the way it should be. And at least imagination for you to be even more aroused. Because if a woman goes in your bedroom right away butt naked, yeah, maybe at the first time you're gonna feel aroused, but not gonna be like, you know, when you take off each layer of clothing, you're gonna feel like a stallion, like, and so, you know what I mean? It's all foreplay. So the Filipino gives you more pleasure in a bedroom through my experiences. My wife is showing me to cut it off because I'm getting into a little too much here. But anyway, I enjoy staying here. Many times I feel heartbroken because I got family in America, I've got family in Europe. It's not easy. You're sacrificing a lot when you come over here. Yeah, you can video chat with your family and talk. It's completely different when you talk in person, right? So the distance is not an easy factor when you're here, so you gotta prepare yourself for that. A lot of people get homesick. A lot of people go back and forth, back and forth. It costs a lot of money, and some people can't even afford it. So make sure 200% that you're ready to come here and you want to settle down here. There's a lot of benefits to be here and some disadvantages too. But anyway, I'm enjoying my life. Ever since I've been married here, I feel like my biological clock turned back some. One thing due to being married to somebody I truly feel her love, and I truly love her too. So I'm enjoying life just about to the fullest. And I wish all of you who decide to go this route, wish all of you the same thing, even more. All right, thank you for your time and enjoy your day, and please come back to my next vlog. Take care.